Students, in this video we are going to discuss composition of continuous functions, then boundedness of continuous functions, then we will take one example, and then some theorems. Fine, let's see. First is composition of continuous functions. So let f and g be defined on intervals I and j respectively, and f of I is subset of j. If f is continuous at a belongs to I and g is continuous at f of a belongs to j, then GOF, that means GOF, is continuous at a. What is the meaning of this? We can see this graph. We can see this graph here. This is the domain I, capital I here. This is I. This is point A and X. This is the interval I. Fine. Then at this point the functional value is f of a. At this point the functional value is f of x. Then this point is f of a, and this is the strip with radius delta. Here the strip is this. For example, this strip here around this is of radius delta 1. Radius is delta 1 here. On the other side here, when this axis is basically transformed to here. Fine. So this is basically from here to here is j. This is j. From here to here, this is j. But this from here to here is I, subset of f of I. So f of I is subset of j. This is written here. So somewhere we have point this I, because this is f of I, this is f of I axis from here to here. So this is f of I, this is transformed here. So here this point is transformed here, f of a, f of x. So its functional value, this is function g. So its function is under g will be g f of a, g of f of x. Here the function is f, here the function is g. Here the domain is f of I. Fine. So this is the meaning. So now we have to prove that. So we have this theorem. So we have to prove that GOF is continuous. We have to prove this. Fine. So if f is continuous, that means if this function is continuous, then GOF, this function is also continuous. This is g of f of x. G of f of x is equal to nothing but GOF of x. So this is continuous. We have to prove this. So this is the proof. So since g is continuous at f of a here, this g is continuous, this function is continuous at this point. This is continuous. G is continuous at f of a. Because g is continuous in this neighbor is complete domain, f of I subset of g. So obviously this is continuous at every point, and hence g is continuous at f of a also. So that's why g is continuous at f of a. This implies for given epsilon there exists a delta greater than 0 such that this condition holds. So here g of f of x minus g of f of a is magnitude of this is less than epsilon whenever magnitude of f of x minus f of a is less than delta, because here points are in the form of f of x. That's why here we have f of x. So in place of x, here we have f of x. Fine. Now f is also continuous at a. Here f is also continuous in this domain. So f is continuous at a. This implies for given epsilon is equal to delta greater than 0. Suppose we have assumed this. Why we have taken this? Because here is this quantity f delta, this is delta, generally we consider delta, so this is also epsilon, because here this is the epsilon, this quantity we have, this is delta, this is epsilon. Fine. So this is delta, this is epsilon. So here we have assumed that for a given epsilon is equal to delta, that means this quantity here, there exists a delta 1 such that this condition holds. F of x minus f of a is less than delta whenever magnitude of x minus a is less than delta 1. So in place of epsilon, here we have used delta, so that we have same equation, same inequality. And here in place of delta 1, delta, we are having delta 1. Fine. Now we can combine these two through this link. This is the link between these two. That's why this condition holds when this holds. So for a given epsilon greater than 0, there exists a delta 1 greater than 0 such that this equation. So this, whenever this. So this implies this is nothing but g of f of x minus g of f of a is less than epsilon whenever x minus a is less than delta 1. So GOF is continuous at x equal to a. Fine. So this is proved. Now we are having an example which is the counter example of showing that function is discontinuous. So let f be a function which is this, f of x equal to 1 when x is rational and minus 1 when x is irrational. Show that f is discontinuous at every point of R. So this is a very special example, and we will prove this with the help of discontinuity criteria of sequences. Sequential criteria we will use for discontinuous function. So let us take case 1, because here we are having two branches, depends upon nature of x, whether x is rational or irrational. So let us see case 1. When this point A, because here show that f is discontinuous at every point. So here we are discussing the discontinuity of a random point or an arbitrary point A. We have selected an arbitrary point A and we are discussing its discontinuity. Here now A may be a rational number or an irrational number. So that's why in case 1 we are assuming that A, this point A is basically a rational number. So according to this one, A is rational, so its value f of A will be 1. Fine. So here this is some point A here which is rational. So if you take any small neighborhood around this is rational. This is rational. So obviously in this neighborhood you can find some points here, they are irrational. You can easily find, you take small radius, construct this neighborhood, and immediately you can see that there are infinitely many irrational numbers. In fact, in this there are many rational as well as irrational. Fine. So among these, if you take this neighborhood, the radius is 1 minus n, to this point is a plus 1 by n, where this represents the radius, small radius. So here, then for any neighborhood a minus 1 by n to a plus 1 by n of a contains an irrational number, say an. Let us see, this is the irrational number. Suppose this is the irrational number an. Depending upon this, for example here, if this is a and you are choosing a minus 1 to a plus 1, then this number is a1. Suppose here is a, you have selected half, a minus half to a plus half, then we are denoting this point, say a2. If you are slightly subtract this, a minus 1 by 3 to a plus 1 by 3, then immediately you can number here a3 and so on. So that's why for n we are having an. So here for this choice of this an, for all n, we have a number an belongs to this neighborhood, and this can be rewritten as this. An is in between a minus 1 by n to a plus 1 by n for all n belongs to n, and this can be further rewritten as this. An minus a magnitude is less than 1 by n for all n belongs to n, and this is tending to 0 as n tending to infinite, this will tend to 0. So an minus a is tending to 0 as n tending to infinite, and this means an tends to a as n tending to infinite. That means the sequence an tends to a. However, an is what? An is an irrational number. When an is irrational number, so according to the definition of the function, when an is irrational, its value will be minus 1. So f of an is minus 1. F of an is minus 1, but f of a is 1 because a was what? A is rational. A is rational. That's why f of a is 1. So we can say that limit n tending to infinite f of an, limit of this sequence, this is a constant sequence, is minus 1, which is not equal to f of a, because here is 1, here is minus 1. So f of an does not converge to f of a. F of an does not converge to f of a when an tends to a, because an tends to a here, this an tends to a, but f of an, this does not tend to f of a, and hence according to the sequential criteria, f is discontinuous at all rational points. Similarly, for case 2, when some point b is any irrational point, so since b is irrational, so f of b is minus 1 according to the definition of the function. Then take the neighborhood of this point b. Again we are selecting same radius, b minus 1 by n to p plus 1 by n of b, and this neighborhood contains some point bn, which is nothing but now rational. Here is irrational, here is rational for all n. That's why bn belongs to this interval. This can be further rewritten as this: b minus 1 by n to bn is less than b plus 1 by n for all n belongs to n. That means magnitude of bn minus b is less than 1 by n for all n belongs to n, and hence bn tends to b as n tending to infinite, and that's why bn converges to b. Now f of bn is 1. Why? Because bn is a rational number. So rational number means f of bn is 1 for all n. However, f of b, what is b? B is irrational number, so its value is minus 1. So that's why we can say that limit n tending to infinite f of bn is 1, which is not equal to f of b. Both are different. So f of bn does not converge to f of b when bn tends to b, and that's why function is again discontinuous at all the irrational points. So we can say that this function is continuous everywhere. This function is discontinuous everywhere. Fine. Now the next concept is boundedness of continuous functions. So suppose we have a function f whose domain is closed interval ab to r, real valued function, is said to be bounded in the interval a to b, closed interval a to b, if there exists two numbers small k and capital K such that f of x is lying in between small k and capital K. There is less than equality. So k is less than equal to f of x is less than capital K for all x belongs to AB. Fine. So a function is bounded in AB if it is both bounded above and bounded below in AB. So here is the meaning. Boundedness means we are having lower bound as well as upper bound. For example, this f of x is x square parabola. So this function is bounded in closed interval 1 to 2. This is bounded, and lower limit will be 1. When you put x equal to 1 here, so you will get 1 here. So 1. Put x equal to 2 here, so 2 square is 4, so that's why 4. So f of x is laying in between 1 and 4. Similarly here, f of x is 1 by x is bounded in open interval 0 to 1. Open interval 0 to 1. 0 is not included and 1 is also not included. Third example, f of x is 1 by 1 minus x. So this is not bounded in the closed interval 1 to 4. Because when you put 1 here, you will get infinite. So that's why not bounded. But if you take here open interval, then this function is bounded. So if bounded in open interval 1 and closed interval 4, this is bounded here. Fine. Now some results on boundedness with respect to sequences. Here we are using sequences, and this part we have already discussed in previous semester when we then at that time when we are discussing the sequences. So in sequences we have already discussed this part. So we have summarized only the main theorems which we will use in the next upcoming theorems. So we will use these. Fine. First, every bounded sequence has a limit point. If a sequence is bounded, then obviously that sequence has a limit point. Second, a number p is a limit point of a sequence an if and only if there exists a subsequence ank of an such that ank tends to p. So if there is a limit point of a sequence, then corresponding to this point you can find actually a subsequence such that this subsequence tends to that point p. कोई भी आप पॉइंट ले लीजिए जो किसी सीक्वेंस का लिमिट पॉइंट है, तो इस पॉइंट के लिए आप एक सबसीक्वेंस जरूर ढूंढ सकते हो जो कि इस पॉइंट पे कन्वर्ज करेगा लिमिट पॉइंट पे. फाइन. दिस इज द थ्योरम. नाउ द थर्ड, एवरी क्लोज्ड इंटरवल ए बी is a closed set. Every closed interval a to b is a closed set. What is the meaning of closed set? Closed set means those sets are called closed sets which are having its limit points. That means all the limit points of that set actually belong to that point, that set. Then that set is called closed set. So here this is the closed interval. That means all the limit points of this set actually laying inside this. That's why this is closed set. Fine. Fourth one, a closed set contains all its limit points. So what we have discussed here, this is written here. Fifth point, if P is a limit point of a set S and S is subset of T, that means P is a limit point of this set, then P is also be the limit point of the superset T. Then P is also a limit point of set T. Fine. Then we are having a theorem without proof. If a function f is continuous on a closed bounded interval AB, then it is bounded. So if this is closed and bounded interval where function is defined, so if function is continuous in this interval, then obviously function is bounded. Fine. So this is the theorem without proof. Now we will take few theorems. We will take these theorems, fine, in the next video, and these theorems are basically some properties which are defined on for continuity of a function at a point. So we will take these theorems in the next video. Thank you.